Recently in Japanese cinemas, the brand new film Shin Ultraman has finally been released after being delayed from 2021 to 2022. And alongside the release of this new Shin Ultraman film, we did finally get a brand new teaser trailer for the upcoming 2023 film Shin Kamen Rider by director Hideaki Anno. So today I want to go ahead and break down this brand new trailer, talk about everything that we see in it, and what makes me super excited to see this film come out next year. But before we get started, I want to go ahead and introduce and thank today's video sponsor, Buyee. If you have never heard of Buyee, they are one of the leading Japanese proxy shopping services that you can use to purchase items from stores that don't usually ship outside of Japan, such as Yahoo Japan Auctions, Mercari, and Rakuten. It's super easy to use. You just have to head to their site where you can search through the numerous stores, you can find your items, and have Buyee bid on or purchase the item for you. Then you just wait for them to receive it in their warehouse and ship it to you. Now, I've used Buyee for a number of different tokusatsu purchases, and if you're trying to track down old Kamen Rider merchandise, if you're kind of feeling nostalgic for the new movie, or even current Toku stuff, Buyee is the place to go with all the stores that they have for you to choose from. If you'd like to try Buyee for yourself, there's a link in the description below for new users to get a 2,000 yen coupon when they sign up for an account. So once again, huge thanks to Buyee for sponsoring today's video. I always love working with them and I love using their service, and I hope that it's able to be helpful for you in your tokusatsu toy collecting. Now let's get into Shin Kamen Rider. The upcoming Shin Kamen Rider film is one of the 3 projects that was announced back in April 2021 in celebration of Kamen Rider's 50th anniversary. Now, none of these projects have released just yet, but we are slowly getting to all of them coming out in some fashion. Of course, we have Futo PI, the upcoming double anime, which is coming to Crunchyroll later on this August as the first project. Later on this fall, we are getting Kamen Rider Black Sun, which I'm very excited for. And of course, next year in March, we are getting Shin Kamen Rider. So we have been getting some information about Shin Kamen Rider over the last couple of months, and I've already done some Toku Topics episodes to talk about that. So like the casting information for Kamen Rider Ichigo and Kamen Rider Nigo, and now we have a brand new trailer. Now, the original trailer for this film that came out a couple of months ago was sort of basically just showing off a recreation of the original Kamen Rider intro, while this one kind of shows you a little bit more of what to expect for the film. Now, personally, I have not seen any of these Shin films. I've never seen Shin Godzilla. I haven't seen Shin Ultraman or anything, obviously, because it just came out, though I really want to. But I love what I see from these trailers. I love what I saw in the Shin Ultraman trailer, and it's here. It's here once again with the Shin Kamen Rider trailer. And this is awesome. So this is 55 seconds long. It's really not that long. And it will be linked in the description below if you guys would like to check out the trailer for yourselves, which I highly recommend. But basically this trailer starts off with just some simple shots. There's not even really any audio in it. It's just clips of Kamen Rider, Shin Kamen Rider, being Kamen Rider. And these shots are definitely a lot more of a, the somber side of Kamen Rider, the more, humanity aspect and the cyborg aspect. And what's really cool about this is seemingly from this trailer and kind of what we've heard about the film, it kind of dives into that whole, being a Kamen Rider, you lose part of your humanity kind of thing. So what it seems like is that in this film, that Takashi Hongo, being turned into the cyborg by Shocker, he's like permanently Kamen Rider in some regard. So it looks like he can take the helmet off, but it looks like he pretty much is always wearing the suit, which is where the kind of trench coats that we saw in the original teaser poster. We also saw that Nigo is going to be getting one of those as well. We didn't really get to see the trench coats and like other promotional material that we got of the full suits when they were on, display or whatever. But we definitely do see those trench coats in this film. We see this really cool shot that I really like, where he's kind of like hovering over this like sink and he's like opening up the trench coat. I really like how that looks, and I love in this trailer all these close-up shots of, the different bad guys, and just the shots are fantastic. Like, the cinematography looks beautiful, and that's one thing that I'm just super excited about this. And then we get to the back half of the trailer, which kind of shows off Shocker stuff. It shows off this movie's version of the very first Kamen Rider monster that's ever fought in the original series, which is Spider-Man. No relation to the Marvel character, but the Shocker grunt of Spider-Man. And it looks fantastic. And what I really like about this, I think we knew about this before that they were doing it, but they fight at the same spot that they fight in the original first episode of the series that aired over 50 years ago on Japanese television, which is just really cool that for the most part, that area looks basically the same. Obviously it's changed in half of a century, but it looks so cool. And it's just so cool to see that in 2022 or 2023, like super high definition shots and everything. Obviously 70s Toku has that certain charm to it for kind of being, not necessarily grainy, but like being a 50-year-old television show. So to get these iconic looking characters and iconic looking monsters and locations done now in the modern age, but still done with that same kind of like way that they would have done it in the past, if that makes sense, it's just something that really appeals to me with this. It feels like a reboot of the original Kamen Rider series, which it is, but it also doesn't feel like it's straying too far from the original roots, which is just what's really cool about the whole aesthetic that's going on with this film. Another shot that I really like, and it kind of makes me think of like Kamen Rider the First or Kamen Rider the Next, is when this one Shocker character, I'm not exactly sure which Shocker character it's supposed to be off the top of my head, where he kind of just like turns and like his eyes light up. Like, it looks really cool when that happens in this trailer here. Like, just everything looks great. There's no dialogue in the whole trailer, and there doesn't need to be. Like, you just get all of these shots. You get that first half of the trailer, the more somber stuff, and then you get the action portions, and you get the badassness of it, and just it's so cool. And what's really interesting to me is what the entire plot of this film is going to be. It definitely looks like it's going to be it's going to have to be a very streamlined version of like multiple different plot lines in the original series, because we know that Kamen Rider Nigo is introduced in this film, and it does look like there's a potential, or it definitely looks like there will be, a confrontation between the two riders of some kind, so, which I think is kind of what the Kamen Rider the First did as well, so they kind of had to like, fast track introducing Kamen Rider Nigo into things, before you have the double riders team up by the end, and maybe they won't team up by the end. I assume that they probably will to fight Shocker, but I don't know if this is ever being thought of to have multiple films or anything like that. I assume it's probably not, because it's supposed to just be a special project to celebrate the 50th anniversary, so I assume that it probably is not supposed to be, starting a whole franchise of films or something like that. But it is really cool that we're going to get both the riders in there, but I'm just interested to see, we're getting the origin of Ichigo, we're also going to have to get the origin of Nigo, we're going to get Ichigo fighting Spider-Man at the original locations and stuff like that, so we're going to have to cover the first couple episodes of Kamen Rider, recapping them essentially in this movie, and then jumping ahead, and then seeing where they go from there. Which is just really interesting, because I would be very interested to see like what a Kamen Rider like V3 or something like that would look like in the Shin universe here, because these suits are definitely a lot more faithful to the original versions of the suits. So obviously they have somewhat new designs to them, but basically they are a lot more faithful to the original 70s suits than like Kamen Rider the First was, or Kamen Rider the Next was. Which is just kind of interesting that we have now kind of a second different attempt of like doing a modern era Ichigo, basically, because basically we have like the 2000s attempt at that with the First and the Next, and now we have the 2020s attempt with that. But like I've said earlier numerous times in this video, it's obviously supposed to be more like the original, specifically for the 50th anniversary, and that's just really, really neat. So I really, really hope that this film, and I would also really like Shin Ultraman as well, to somehow get theatrical releases here in the US, because I would love to see these films somehow officially and legally. It'd be really, really great to be able to do that, because they look beautiful, they look amazing. Now, I've been seeing how Shin Ultraman's been doing in Japan, and it's killing it over there. It's become like the highest grossing Ultraman film of all time, which I don't think was even that high of a bar to hit, but like people are loving it over there. And I've seen some stuff about it that I already didn't want to see, because Bandai, I guess, figured it was okay to now have spoilers out for it or whatever, because there was some merchandise that is starting to be up for pre-order from the Shin Ultraman movie that I didn't necessarily want to know about yet. But I'm also very curious what the merchandise is going to be for this film, because for all of these different projects that they announced, like Futopii and Black Sun and now this, we don't really know exactly the full extent of merchandise for them. We know Black Sun is getting the most amount of Kamen Rider merchandise, the more typical Kamen Rider merchandise, like SH Figuarts releases. I know that the Black Sun belts are getting CSM releases right from the get-go. And I know Futopii has already had some Figuarts announced. It's already had some, like, Gashapon keychain charms and stuff like that. But I haven't seen any kind of merchandise lists for this. And I have to assume that they're going to get figure arts of some kind, but like I would really like for them to get like vinyl figures or something. Because I would just really like to get some kind of figure representation of this version of Ichigo and this version of Nigo, and not have to shell out the money that will inevitably be very expensive for figure arts versions of these guys. But yeah, this trailer is awesome. It still doesn't give too much away. I mean, it basically just kind of shows you, you know, there's Kamen Rider. He's gonna be fighting some Shocker. There's like cool shots of police cars driving and like them walking. And I love all these close-up angles and everything where like you get right into the person's face. Like the Shin Ultraman trailer did that as well. There's one shot I can think of very heavily in that trailer where it's like a very cool angle where you see somebody holding a remote control and it just feels very like tight and personal. And I don't know, I love the framing of that shot in that trailer, and we get a lot of shots like that in this Shin Kamen Rider trailer that I just have also really kind of, I don't know, focused and grasped onto for some particular reason. And maybe that's just the film student in me talking, but like I really like what I see with this, and I'm very excited to find a way to be able to watch this film and the other Shin films for that matter. Like I have said earlier, I haven't seen any of them, so maybe I won't like them, but I don't see that I wouldn't like them. I feel like I definitely would from everything I've seen of them. And hey, it'd be really cool if we got like a Shin Go Ranger film or something for Sentai, because it's like the only one of the big tokusatsu franchises left that hasn't got a Shin film announced for it, and if it did, that would be pretty cool, but I don't even know what they would do for that necessarily, or if they would even want to try. But maybe that would be for like Sentai's 50th anniversary in a couple years or something, since that's not too far off. Alright, and with that, that's all I have to say about the Shin Kamen Rider trailer that we got last week. Like I said earlier, it will be left in the description below if you'd like to check out the trailer for yourself. And I'm also going to leave some of the other promotional videos that they've shared, like the one from a couple months ago, where they like recreated the original Kamen Rider intro. So, you know, just things about the Shin Kamen Rider film if you haven't seen them already. And once again, huge thanks to Buyee for sponsoring today's video. Be sure to check out that link in the description below to get the 2,000 yen coupon when you sign up for an account on their service. And until next time, you guys can follow me on Twitter at LiveNerdChiki or at LightningVicPR. And I'd love to hear what you guys have to say down in the comments below about Shin Kamen Rider, Shin Ultraman, any of Hideaki Anno's work. I know he's also very big in other not Toku related things, especially with like Evangelion and everything like that, but like I'm not that deep as an anime fan to know too much of his work, but I know he's a pretty big deal, so I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about anything down in the comments below, and I'll see you all next time.